The world doesn't have a hunger problem, it has a distribution problem. You may have heard this before. Even in America, where we have tons of food, 23.5 million people find themselves living in food deserts. These are areas where there are no easily affordable or accessible options for healthy foods. My passionate interest for exploring human well-being has led me to check out the connections between health, nutrition, psychology, culture, nature. And as a veteran, I care a lot about our nation's promise of freedom and justice and equality for everybody. And it's become apparent to me that, one, a healthy, nutritious diet is vital to living a fulfilling and prosperous life. And two, many people, low income, often minorities, find it unjustly difficult to access this kind of food. In food deserts, there are 2.5 times as many fast food restaurants as in other areas. Keep that in mind, we'll talk about that in a minute. Community gardens, which are gardens started by a group of people, be it a school or a church or a community center or a nonprofit. These are the best option that we have for addressing this issue of food distribution in our country. First, I'm going to talk a little more about food deserts and their implications and how they come to be. Next, I'm going to talk more about community gardens and their benefits. And last, I'm going to talk about some of the challenges many community gardens face and how you can get ahead of them. So, food deserts. See these tasty treats here? These are the kind of foods you're going to find in a food desert. Food deserts are defined as an area, say in an urban area, where you are more than 1 mile away from a grocery store. In rural areas, it's 10 miles. They often apply to areas with small populations, areas where residents are low income, have low levels of education, lack reliable transportation. So if you can imagine, you get off work, you're hungry, need food. And if you don't have a car, are you going to travel by foot or bike or maybe bus to go get your groceries and come home and cook? Or are you going to walk down the road to McDonald's or a corner store? This was not paid for by McDonald's. It's a path of least resistance. That's nature. And over time, that adds up to general inflammation in the body. General inflammation, as shown here, I'm not sure if you can read that. It has impacts on the entire body: brain, heart, muscular system, bones, skin, all your organs. It's correlated to basically every chronic disease you can think of: diabetes, cancers, Crohn's disease, digestive disorders, heart conditions, skin conditions, psoriasis, eczema, acne. There are mental effects from it as well, like ADHD and just poor focus, poor memory. It's an all-encompassing sort of deal that if you're eating processed foods rich in preservatives and other artificial ingredients, and sweeteners and flavors, then you're damaging your health and you're reducing your performance and experience in life. Now, food deserts, like I said, where there's that need, have been largely filled with fast food joints. Furthermore, a study done by Johns Hopkins in 2014 revealed that white communities had the most supermarkets. African American communities had the fewest supermarkets, and multiracial communities fell in the middle. Now, that's one aspect of it, but above all, low-income communities are the ones suffering from this. Supermarkets just tend to not want to invest in low-income areas. People don't have as much money to give them. Also, low-income areas have higher rates of crime, and that results in higher costs for security and insurance for these places. So it's kind of a perpetuating cycle. So if we want to help our low-income areas, you got to make sure that we're feeding them or just providing access to healthy and nutritious foods. Also, Harvard did a study along with Brown University that revealed that a healthy diet costs on average $1.50 more per day than a diet of that stuff. Do you want to pay for the healthy food subscription? It's $45 a month. So, community gardens, they increase food security, they reduce household insecurity concerns by up to 90%. They improve people's health just by giving them access to non-chemically adulterated foods. Every dollar invested in community gardens tends to produce about $6 worth of yield, and that excess can be used to give people business experience in selling at farmers markets. You can also donate the excess, like this one community garden outlined here on the left donated 1,800 pounds of produce and had 1,600 pounds for personal use. The community gardens also provide opportunities for volunteer hours for young people. People engaging in community gardens are improving their health just with the moderate physical activity. Contact with soil is shown to trigger the release of serotonin, which makes you feel love and happiness. It also, in working with plants, releases dopamine, which is your brain's reward system, so you're just making people happier and more fulfilled. It's a positive activity to build community and culture around, particularly now with a large loneliness epidemic. You also benefit the environment. You promote biodiversity, beautify the neighborhoods, increase property values, reduce crime. Community gardens are shown to reduce drug activity and burglaries and assaults by up to 50%. So benefits are many. Challenges are often found in starting, security, and in participation. All right, getting started, keyword community. Talk to people you know. There's over 19 million unused properties in America. There's over 40 million unproductive acres of land. So the land is out there. All right, the know-how is out there. Lots of people know how to grow stuff. All right, the money's out there. We're already spending money on charity like that. We want to help our underserved individuals. Why not devote public funds to just growing the food right where it's needed? You're also reducing the food distribution miles. All right, so along with this isn't just for low-income individuals. You can just improve the food security of the community, where perhaps most of the food people depend on for their sustenance is coming from miles away, where in disastrous circumstances that might be a problem. So anyway, back to this. Security. The idea you're wanting to build these in low-income areas, which often have high rates of theft and vandalism. So you can address this directly with fences, lights, cameras, signs. I would argue that you want to find a balance between the direct security of it and the idea that kindness is the ultimate defense. So you just build a community presence when you're there. Talk to people. You're there to help. You're there to provide a service to people. So when addressing the security aspect, try not to be too suspicious of people and create that sort of animosity. Here's some examples of some signs people made. You could set it up where all of it is, each person has a plot perhaps, and that's all their food to do with as they please. You could also have one where all the food is there for anyone to come pick as they wish. You could also designate some food for individual growth and use and some food for the community to come take. So there are no rules here. Another aspect or another challenge that community gardens face is in keeping participation up. So if a garden is started and then it's not maintained, then it can fall into disrepair and it loses its aesthetic value, it can attract pests, it reduces the productive value. So you want to keep people involved. Some ways you can do that: have an initial deposit, just a small $5, $10, $15 that people invest to do it, so that, it's just a little piece that you gave that keeps you in it. You can also have policies where if it goes unused for a certain amount of time, it can go to somebody else who wants to use it. You can host community work days once a week, twice a week, whenever, to, again, build that community bond and have accountability with people. Celebrate accomplishments, post on social media, build a culture around the food production where, like the more friendship and love and connection that's around it, the more people are going to want to do it and the more momentum it will gain. So today there's over 29,000 community gardens in America's 100 biggest cities, but we can never have too many. So we've talked about food distribution in America, how community gardens can serve to alleviate that problem, and some of the challenges that one might face in running a community garden. And I would say again that this is the best, easiest, most sustainable, grassroots, if you will, way that we can promote the general welfare of our nation. So thank you for listening, and let's get growing.